Joining me is my guest, and his iconic music has serenaded our airwaves for years, with his hits including One Spit and Twice Shy, Rock Me, even his latest hits, Sign of the Times, and He Saw It Coming, the voice of Great White, Jack Russell.
Hey,
Thank
how
you
you
so
doing, Larry?
much, man. I appreciate
You're
you joining
welcome.
me.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
I've been very excited about talking with you and everything. I know a time in the day we could sit and I'd love to just pick your brain about your career, but I know all our times are all precious. But the focus of it is Milligan June Jubilee. You're going to be coming out to Milligan, Nebraska, Friday, June 11th. Uh, First off, how excited are you to get back into the music spin again?
Oh, it's I've been chomping at the bit. I mean, it's this is the longest time I've been off the road since I was sick back in 2010. It's when they when they all of a sudden they said it was we're shutting down the music scene, and it was like I couldn't believe it. It happened like almost seemed like overnight. One day we had shows, the next day it was like everything's canceled or postponed till God knows when. So it's really exciting to get back out. It's almost like a dream. I'm hoping somebody to shake me and wake me up and go, oh man, there's still no shows. It's it's what I live for. I mean, being on stage performing. That's why I'm here. You know. So yeah, I'm really excited to get back.
How did you keep yourself and your mind, body, and spirit all in sync during that downtime? I mean, obviously in Colorado, you're not near the water. I know you love
Yeah.
getting out in the water. What did you do to kind of keep your mind going?
A lot of TV, man. A lot of TV.
Yeah,
Pretty
favorite
much turn it
show?
up on any channel, any time of day. Binge watching Forged in Fire.
Yeah,
Things like that. I've been working on new songs, working on a new album. Um, that's been taking up a lot of my time. Robbie and I are writing. It's difficult writing over Zoom since there's a delay. You know what I mean? That you don't notice until you start playing. It's like wow, So, but we're pulling it off. I'm really excited about getting the new record started.
any
About
in
three
its
quarters of the
early
way through
stages
right
right
now.
now for the new record, or what are you guys looking
I'm
at?
sorry, I was talking over you. What now?
No, you're fine. I said early stages with the record, or what are you guys looking at right now?
Yeah, we're about three quarters of the way done writing right now. Um, unless something else comes up. I mean, there's always that thing you say, okay, well, we've got all the songs we need. These are the ones we're going to record. Then all of a sudden you'll come up with another idea. You go, oh, that's better than this one. So we'll change it out. So right now, if all goes the way I intend it to go, we're like three quarters of the way done. And we've got enough ideas that we're woodshedding on to see us through to the finish of it, and then we'll start recording when it's time to record. They'll do the basics. I'll fly down and do the vocals, or I'll have I don't really want to have them sent up to my studio and do them up here and then fly them back home. There's something just inherently wrong with that to me. I need to be around at least one of my guys, you know what I mean? At least Robbie in the studio to have some direction and pushing me harder to do, as best as I can do.
Yeah, and getting into the swing of things and back at it again, getting out on that tour. How important is it now with music? I mean, taking that step back and really looking out. I mean, obviously you see a whole new sense of life coming back in this year as we're kind of getting out of this um, pandemic.
Well, say that with a grain of salt. I mean, I hope that this is indeed the end of it. I mean, I hate this. Think of a life, the rest of my life wearing a mask everywhere I go.
Yeah.
My biggest fear is that you have all these people that don't want to get the vaccine, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that. But it's gonna screw with the herd immunity. If we don't get like I think 70%, then we won't reach herd immunity, and then we're bound to have another cycle of hospitals overflowing,
Yeah.
concerts being shut down, restaurants being shut down, just like the last season. So I mean, there's a respite right now. You know, uh, and let's just hope that, you know, enough people get vaccinated to where we could pull it off, you know. And as I
Amen.
said, I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do with their own bodies, you know. I mean, I'm waiting on my second shot right now. I mean, you know, I'm not going to mess around with it, you know.
Mhm.
Like, I don't want to get COVID. No thanks. Too many
Yeah,
people
you
are
want to get
COVID.
back on the stage, you know? That's
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Well, you know, I want to start in the beginning and kind of give everybody an idea of how you came about. You know, at the very beginning, can you kind of talk to us about when you knew you were going to be a rock star at the age of 6, and how you were able to form a band with what, about the age of 11, with the neighbor just down the street? Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Hey, you've done your homework.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, it was quite early in my life, you know, I mean, that I got into music. I mean, I was probably 5 years old, and you know, I was singing in the school choir, and got into the Beatles and the Beach Boys. And I remember my parents bought me the Beatles Help album for my, I think it was my 6th birthday. Yeah, 5 years going into 6, I think it was. And I put the album on, and I had this really weird, like, pseudo vision, you know what I mean, where I just felt this presence, this really heavy spiritual feeling. And I had a vision of what my life was going to be like when I got older. And I like saw, you know, tour buses, and I saw stages, and I saw, you know, concerts. And when it was over, I remember just laughing, just hysterically, because I was like, I'm going to be a rock star, you know. And I know this sounds really crazy and weird. People can think what they want, but this is I swear on my soul, is a true story. And so I never ever was worried about being successful. I mean, I knew it was going to happen. You know, I was just didn't know when. So, you know, like constantly looking at my watch, like, okay, come on now, let's hurry this up, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's when it started. Back then, I started my first band when I was 11, as you said, with a neighbor down the street. And it went from there. And then it evolved into, you know, meeting Mark and starting a band with him. And that evolved into Great White. And the rest, as they say, is history. You know?
Yeah, I mean, for you growing up and doing the early stages of rock back then in California, how important was it to have your original material growing up and play, you know, versus playing in all those backyard gigs of yours?
Well, you know, I did all that stuff, you know, when I was younger. And I used to always tell people that, you know, bands I was jamming with, it's like, hey man, let's get some originals going. You know, you're like, oh, well, we're not ready yet, whatever. I'm like, okay, well, I got to go.
Hmm.
You know what I mean, when I met Mark, you know, he was in a cover band, and you know, I told him, I said, well, look, you know, the band was just okay. You know, I mean, he was auditioning singers, and I didn't really want to go. You know, but I went just to get him off my back,
Yeah.
because he kept bugging me. You know,
Yeah.
and so I went down there, and you know, they were average, you know, and I didn't like the way they looked. The drummer was really big and sloppy looking, and he played with you know, the jazz Gomer left hand like this
Oh yeah.
sideways. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's just so not rock to me. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, but my apologies to any drummer that plays that way, but I just the visual to me is just not cool. You know,
Yeah.
and so and the bass player had a mustache. And back in those days, if you had facial hair, you were in Three Dog Night. You know,
Yeah.
it was cool to have any hair in your face back in the '70s. You know,
Yeah.
we I told him to quit his band, and you know, I'd quit the guys I was jamming with, and would, you know, do our own thing original. So he agreed, and we started the band that night that we met. I mean, that was it. That was it, and the rest went on from there. You know, up until 2011. You know, when it all ended. You know.
How do you feel? How has rock evolved for you over the years? I mean, from the early beginnings to what you see now, how have you felt how rock has evolved in your
I think it's
career?
evolved and evolved really.
Yeah.
You know, in a sense, you know that it has. I mean, there's unfortunately there's a lot of music out there. What they call music, I don't really understand. It's to me, it seems like it's all hip hop. You know,
Mhm.
And you look at I don't even watch the Grammys anymore. You know what I mean? There's just like no rock.
Yeah.
You know, it's sad. I mean, because you're basically taking a whole class of music and all the people that call that their music and saying it's not valid. You know, all the '80s music, or they want to call it hair bands or whatever they want to label it, which is a shortcut to thinking. You know, it there's a stigma to it that unfortunately has taken our music and basically shoved it under the sofa, with the boogers. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Made it a forethought, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And you're telling a whole generation that their music is crap. And that's not true. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of bands that were less than, but there's that in any kind of music, in every generation.
Yeah.
But to hold a whole class of music accountable for a few bands that weren't quite, up to par, or people didn't like the looks of, you know, it's really sad, you know.
Mhm.
It seems like there's a rediscovery thing going on now where people are, you know, finding out about the music. Younger kids are, finding out about bands of the '70s and the '80s, and they're starting to break free of the generational mold, so to speak, and finding that the music they like is music from our time.
Mhm.
It's very cool, and it gives you hope, because I mean the '80s to me was the greatest time in music. I mean, I think it was all about celebration of life and having a good time, and it wasn't sad and morose like the '90s were and serious. You
Yeah.
know, those are like the dark ages of music. The '90s. It was like all about heroin and you know, it was just a drag. Where the '80s was all about hedonism. I mean,
Yeah.
have a great time, and enjoy yourself, and sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I mean, you can leave the drugs alone, but I mean,
Well, yeah,
music.
you're passionate, you're in, and I mean, it's a unique feel. The sound is pure and it transcends the test of
Yeah.
time.
I mean,
Yeah.
you'll never see rock will never be that big again, ever, ever. I mean, it was like there was just arena tours going on all the time. I mean, you tour after tour after tour after tour would come through, and just millions of people, I mean, just rocking and having a great time, pumping their fists, and I mean, it was quite a spectacle, and being on the receiving end of that, was really, really amazing. All that energy coming from the audience was something I can't even describe. And it just gave me the chills thinking about it.
Yeah.
Uh, it'll never be that way again, ever. I mean, and it's sad. I feel bad for the bands that are coming up because the internet, for all its the good that it does, I mean, all the information you can, find on it. Uh, what it's done to music has been, a travesty. I mean, it really has. It's taken music and it's made it just, worthless. You know, basically nobody wants to buy your albums. Nobody wants anything tangible. I mean, for me, when I own a piece of music, I want to have a piece of music. I want to have the liner notes. I want to know who produced it. And I want to know who wrote the songs. I want to know who mixed it.
Yeah.
I mean? I want to know the special thanks.
Yeah.
All the stuff that, I want to know all about the record and about who's on it, and people don't really care about that anymore so much. It's just like, oh, download this, download that, download this. There's no, I mean, I shouldn't say there's no, it seems like there's a trend starting where people are getting back into vinyl again,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a huge trend, but I mean, it's definitely a movement, so that's exciting to see,
Yeah. It's exciting, and it's kind of funny how they say it's retro, and I'm like, it's what we've experienced for quite some time, but hey, I'll
Right.
take it what I can, whatever it is.
Call it what you want. I'm just glad it exists again,
Amen. Yeah.
Uh, I mean, vinyl is a great format. I mean, analog recording to me is much better than digital. I mean, you have a inherent tape compression that happens only on analog, and it makes it softer on the ear. It's kind of like, if I was to make an analogy, it's kind of like digital is like a square, hard wooden chair, where analog is like a big beanbag. You know, it's just cushiony on your ears. You know what I mean? And where digital is just, it's a mirror image, and it's very stark, and I don't know. I really prefer analog recording. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, for me and radio all these years going through and reel to reel, I love the sound much more than anything else. It's the purest sound possible.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, but want to talk to you a little bit while we got a little time left. Of course, we're talking with Jack Russell. Jack Russell's Great White coming to Milligan, June Jubilee, Friday, June 11th. Get your tickets at MidwestTix.com. And bring your CDs out and whatnot. I bet you probably want to sign them too. I know I want mine signed, but I'll catch you at another time. But I want to talk to you about your latest album. My favorite, of course, Sign of the Times, a part of your latest album, just recent hit. I love He Saw It Coming. I
Yeah,
know. I just, it feels. Tell me a little bit about that. I don't know. Am I the only one, or?
no, I love that song. That's one of my favorite songs of the record. You know, it was just one of those songs that kind of took on a life of its own. I mean, we didn't know where it was going to go. I mean, and it turned out to be this almost Queen-esque type song.
Yes. Yes.
And I love it because it's really eclectic. The whole song is, you have all these different parts going, and the lyric I love, and it's something out of the box for us. It's off it's off the general, it's off road for us a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I wanted to do with this record. I didn't, well, I can't really say that. I don't really intentionally sit there and go, okay, well, I need two ballads, one up tempo, two mid tempos, and a double kick song. You know what I mean? You just write songs, and whatever you like when you're done, you put on the album. You know, and this record was no different. Songs take on a life of their own. It's kind of like you start with something and you don't really know where it's going to go, and you just keep writing, and it evolves on its own. It takes on its own natural course, like a river.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get to the end, sometimes you look back and go, "Wow, I can't believe how we got here." You know what I mean? And that was one of those songs. When we finished it, it was, or actually when we abandoned it, you never finish a song. You just kind of walk away because you could always add more parts.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like a painting. You know what I mean? You never
Yeah.
finish a painting. You can always put on one more brush stroke.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we finished the song, we looked back and went, "Wow, man, was a cool adventure." It's like a sonic adventure. It takes you on a little journey, which songs should do. You know what I mean? And that song, most especially on the album, is definitely one of the most out of the box. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be something you would expect from me, or from Great White, Jack Russell's Great White, whatever you call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, and that's why I like the song, because at the beginning it paints that early stages of you and your career and your path, and that's what I just love about your story. Just looking up, and like I said, when I say a day and a half or whatever it is, it takes a lot to talk about the life and times of Jack Russell, because I love how you honor the past. I mean, you've done great things for both Great White and, of course, your singles run too. I think that all fits into the greater plan, like you always say. But you set your sights to the future. I mean, Great White, Jack Russell's Great White, kicking doors down to this day. I mean, what more do you have, and the band has to prove now? I mean, for now, you guys are you're making it happen and enjoying life. Am I right?
yeah, I think the first album, we set the bar pretty high for ourselves. In my opinion, and I don't mean to sound like I'm blowing smoke up my own ass and shoot my own horn.
No.
I love the last album. I thought it was a really good record. I'm very proud of it, especially for a debut album, Um, so we're finding that, it's going to be really hard to top it.
Hmm.
So we've been working on this new record for quite a while because we set the bar so high. So,
Hmm.
um, but back to what you're talking about, yeah, right now we're not resting on our laurels by any stretch, but I mean, we kind of like have hit our stride and we're in the zone. We're kind of where we want to be right now. Of course,
Prime
we're still
time.
to climb,
Yep.
but at least we're coming up to where, we keep climbing up steadily, and that's all you can ask for, is just to keep building momentum. I got a book coming out this year. My life story is called Jack Russell Dancing on the Edge,
Okay.
which I think is going to be a page turner for sure. I mean, I've had kind of an interesting life, you know. Um, and we've got a new album coming out. It's called Great Zeppelin 2, which is, I don't know if you're familiar with Great Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so we did a second one live in the studio and different songs, like Kashmir, Whole Lot of Love, House of the Holy, Dancing Days,
Oh.
Heartbreaker. Um, we did a lot of cool songs, Good Times, Bad Times. So we're excited about that coming out, and that's coming out on vinyl as well, which we're really stoked about because um, like I said, I love vinyl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but so we've got a lot of cool stuff going on. I mean, and now that we're starting to do shows again, you're starting to feel like okay, like I'm in a band.
Yeah.
Just a while there, I didn't know what do I do for a living? I just sit here and flip channels. Is that my job? So now it's like okay, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I'm sick of Netflix and Hulu myself. I'm glad you're out and about. I'm glad you're doing well. And honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I can't wait to see you in Milligan here soon.
Thank you. Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. It's going to be a good time. I mean, that's one thing I've always loved being on stage. It's like it's the one place in the world where I feel like I'm truly whole. It's like this is where I'm supposed to be. I mean, everywhere else I kind of feel like a little like I'm out of place, you know. But when I'm on stage, I feel like this is why I'm here. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I feel complete.
It's going to be great weather, and of course, you're not too far away, and we're going to open up our arms and welcome you in. You're going to have a great time in Milligan, and so are we. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for joining me on this interview, man. I appreciate it.
Pleasure. Anytime.
Yeah, and so Jack Russell's Great White, you can find him online, YouTube, Facebook, website, all that. Talking about your new book. When's your new book coming out?
We're hoping in the summer or early fall. That's the what we're shooting for.
Okay.
It's hard because to put my life in pages, it would be like the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yeah.
Or at least War and Peace. So we're having to try to pick the best of the best stories and keep everything in chronological order. As much as we can, as much as my memory allows. So it's a task. I didn't think it would be this hard, but it really is because there's so much that you're not going to be able to put in it. I'm going to have to do a sequel to the book because there's just too much information. I mean, we're talking 60 years of stuff. Even if you cut out the first 5 or 6. I mean, just when I got into music, starting from there, that's a lot of time. We're talking 55 years. So and there's been a lot of adventures, a lot of misadventures.
So you're saying is an untold story will be in the works after this first book, huh?
Yeah, it'll be like part 2. You know what I mean?
Oh man, well, we can't wait. Of course, when you see the books out in the bookshelves, Barnes and Noble, I mean, anywhere you get a book, grab it. It's going to be an awesome book. I know I'll enjoy reading it too, man. Thank you. Good luck to you. Glad you're healthy and doing well, and can't wait to see you in the heart of summer here in Nebraska.
Right on, man. Well, make sure we say hello,
I hope so, man. Let's get in touch before the show, and who knows
Yeah.
after the show. So
Great. I would love that.
all right. Jack Russell's Great White, Jack Russell himself, in honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Have a great day, man.